Federal Secretariat, Ikoyi, Lagos, 1991, for 24 years. Katsina Windfalls Project, Katsina, 2005, 19 years. Millennium Tower, Abuja, Federal, 2006, 18 years. Dredging of River Niger, Kogi State, Federal, 2009, 15 years. Mina 5-star Hotel, Niger, Federal, 2009, 15 years today. Abuja Closed Circuit Television CCTV Project, FCT, Federal, 2010, 14 years. It has not seen the light of the day. Rivers Moon and Project, Rivers State, 2012, 12 years down the line. So it is based on this that we are looking for a solution to the crisis bedeviling project development in Nigeria. And I said the first thing that we need to do is actually to understand that project does not just come out of the moonlight. It has to be planned, prioritized, and at the same time ensure that its implementation is actually carried out to its logical conclusion. The major challenge in Nigeria here is that there are projects that are not based on planning. Chief executives will go to public functions and they will declare that they will just do a project and they will initiate the project without even feasibility studies. These must be totally addressed. Number two, the problem of nepotism in the allocation of projects, which has permeated not only the federal government, but even the states. I remember vividly, some years back, over 640 million naira was given to contractors in Benue State by the Benue State Ministry of Education under SUBEB. Mobilization fees were given, but at the end of the day, nothing came out of it. This has to be looked into. In fact, the Chartered Institute of Project Managers mentioned that today in Nigeria, we have over 10,000 contractors that do not have the certificate to operate as contractors. Which is to say that as a result of party politics, the chief executives normally decide who will get what project, and in some cases, as I mentioned earlier, the syndrome of 10% will not actually lead to the invocation of any termination clause entered into. That is why I have been hailing Lagos State's Public Procurement Bureau, Public Procurement Office in Lagos State is doing a lot of work to ensure that termination clause is always religiously adhered to. Today, Lagos is a mega city. Successive administrations inherited one or two projects and they completed them. Part of the success story of Lagos today is the planning, which has been encapsulated into the policy cycle of the state. Any governor who comes must ensure that he completed all the outstanding projects led by his predecessor. So if we can do away with politics, that after this administration, another administration comes in, we are not going back and do the uncompleted projects of our predecessor, particularly when there is a change in party. If there is a change in the ruling party, reflecting a cross, that reflecting a cross, and that the people of Kano, 99% of them are not Christian, and therefore for that cross alone, let there be a change so that we can bulldoze it. It took stakeholders so many days before they were able to prevent the government to do that. Otherwise, that bridge, flyover, would have been demolished. So this is the extent to which politics could bring retardation in the process of development and render totally developmental initiatives a mirage. It is also important for us to have what we can call inclusive, participatory project management. It is in this regard that I am actually proposing that civil society organizations like the Forum of the former deputy governors should have a stake. Earlier yesterday, it has been said that this forum should be part of the State Executive Council membership, and I totally agree, because in FFDGN, we have reservoir of knowledge. People who are technicians, people who are engineers, people who are even class teachers who could contribute positively to the feasibility study that I mentioned earlier, which requires to be set aside before any project are introduced. Let me say that in Nigeria, we have talent, we have resources, but paradoxically, these are relegated to the background for no other reason than politics. Number three, we need to revise our legal framework. Our legal framework, as it is today, the Public Procurement Act of 2007, as far as I'm concerned, should be amended. Because it says, for example, paragraph 15 of that act says that, well, initially let me begin with mobilization P. Initially, mobilization P was 15%. In 2017, the National Assembly raised it to 50%. And there are many people who collected 50% of contract and carted away with it. The law has not provided punitive measure to address contractors who totally absented themselves from the field of work. In some cases, the law even provided what I can call a soft landing for defaulters, because it says you can go to jail for only 2 years. For only 2 years. Meaning that you can collect billions of naira, go to jail for 2 years and come back and reap your money. The law is not very punitive. It has to be amended. Number 4, let me also say that there is the need to squarely address the problem of inflation. Nigeria has never, ever entered into the situation it is today. For the first 28 years, inflation has never risen to 32-point-something%, but now. Defaulters and their connivers could as well use the same opportunity to undertake what is generally known as over-invoicing, because the depressed economy has given them the leverage to do that. If you could remember about the FFDGN project, at one time, Wike was so mad, saying that how could a project, construction of roads, a project which started with 10 billion naira, within 3 years, it went to 100 billion naira. Said this is something that can never be comprehended. So there are people within ministries, extra-ministerial departments and agencies who are actually capitalizing on the depressed economy, on the inflationary trend, to balloon contracts. And at the end of the day, they are the beneficiaries of most of the contracts that are going on. That should be stopped. Number 5, we need to also understand that we have what we call, apart from infrastructural projects, we also have programmatic projects. NYSC wouldn't have existed till date, if not because of the political mindset of the succeeding leaders. Successive leaders. But development agencies normally come to Nigeria, go into very lucrative projects that we need to continue and sustain. But at the end of support or grant given by either multilateral or bilateral agencies, that will be the end of the project. In northern Nigeria, we had XP, Education Support Program. At the time XP elapsed, many state governments have abandoned the project. And if I can take you back, so many projects, in fact, the easiest for you to understand is Change Begin With Me. It's a programmatic project. Today, we are no longer talking about Change Begin With Me, we are talking about renewed agenda. Whereas, Change Begin With Me, programmatic project, should have been encapsulated into the current programmatic project. Probably Change Begin With Me is not in a good book of public functionaries, because the project was saying that you need to change Let there be no business as usual, no corruption and what have you. A lip service to it was paid during the person that introduced it. Today, you cannot hear about it. Projects hitherto undertaken by Noah to educate Nigerians on national integration. If not for NTA station, you hardly hear about some of these programmatic projects, so much so that some people are saying that NYSC has outlived its existence, so let it be scrapped. Not knowing fully that that project is very vital to social cohesion, national integration, and development of this country. If not for NYSC, I wouldn't have had a lot of friends from Imo, from Lagos, from Abia, and the rest of them. I served in northern Nigeria, in Plateau State in 1990. But all my friends came from Imo, Enugu, and the rest of it. And this is a kind of project that people are saying that let it be scrapped. Finally, I would like to say that as a stakeholder, the FFDGN has a role to play in terms of ensuring that projects are sustained so that they can give way to developmental activities of these countries, which will provide a multiplier effect in terms of the development of our society. The civil society organization needs to be encouraged to participate in lobby to their conclusion. Japan, right from the period of Tokugawa